Hey everyone, welcome to the new video on SQL interview question. But before that, let me tell you why do we need SQL? As our industry is going to be data driven with these days, we all focusing on data science and artificial intelligence, but in between them there is a big role we have for data. But how to manage those data? How you can manipulate those data? How can you actually store those data? In order to do that, you really need to have an idea of SQL. That is not a structured query language. The companies, like all the companies, have their own database. Based on that, they use this particular, advanced fields of technology. But how they store their data, how they manipulate their data, in order to have a good understanding on that, you need to know SQL. And if you are someone who actually also want to go for SQL interview, then this video is for you. Please do check out this video. We have talked about all the required things you need for your interview in SQL. So let's get started with the video. Before we get started, I want to introduce you to Great Learning Academy, a free initiative by Great Learning, where you can access over 200 plus courses with 1000 plus hours of free content on trending high demand domains such as data science, machine learning, artificial intelligence, programming, cloud computing, digital marketing, DevOps, management, and many more. That is also for absolutely free. Award-winning academicians and leading industry experts design these courses. You can also get a free certificate of completion when you enroll and complete these free courses. You also get access to the presentation, code, notebook, dataset, and quiz. You have courses in English and Hindi to give you the best learning experience in the language you are comfortable with. Check out the description of this video to access the relevant courses on Great Learning Academy. So what are you waiting for? Register now and start your learning journey today. If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, I want to request you to hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so that you don't miss out any new update or video release from Great Learning. If you enjoy this video, show us some love and like this video. Knowledge increases by sharing, so make sure you share this video with your friends and colleagues. Make sure to comment on the video any queries or suggestion, and I will respond to your comments. In this particular course, we are going to talk about SQL interview questions. So we will first start with why do we need SQL? What are the basic terms we need to start our journey with SQL? If you don't know what is SQL, how can you start your journey with SQL? I do recommend you to go and check out our course on Great Learning Academy, where we have actually come up with a long tutorial on SQL, right? So let's start with what are the interview questions you can actually expect from your interviewer if you go for SQL, right? So let's start with the first question for SQL interview. The first things comes into our mind, the very basic question, what is database? Right? So database itself, when we talk about database, it's nothing but a container, right? So database is a container where data can be collected systematically. Yes, it's a container where you can store your data. Now you will say from where these data are coming. I know this is a really tricky question, and sometimes we are into this question from where this company are having this data. Company has its own transaction. From there, they have the data. Otherwise, there are lots of repositories we have. By using them, they have the data. But why these data are so important? Because in this today's data-driven world, the more data you have, the more powerful company you are. Why I'm saying this? We will talk about that later, right? So for now, the database is nothing but a container where you can collect the data. Managing and manipulation of those data are really easy using database. Yes, database basically change our life, and it's basically help us to understand how you can manipulate your big or huge number of data, how can you manipulate them. We will talk about that also. The other things are the features we have, but this is the very basic things you need to know. Now, let's move further to have an example of database. Okay, I was just giving you the description of database. Now, if you ask me about the example of database, yes, I'm going to give you the example of database as well. Suppose an online telephone directory uses a database to store their data, like maybe they want to store your name, address, phone number, and other contact details. Yes, while they started, storing this data, this is nothing but they're making a proper database for their customers, right? This is one example of database. Now, if we take the second example, so before going towards the example, let me just give me a quick understanding from all of you in the comment section. How many of you really wants to go for a hard copy of the book or PDF version of the book, right? So for my case, I always want to go for the PDF version because it's handy and also it's easily available. So in this case, there are lots of online library you will get who has millions of books, different genres, right? How they are going to manage those things. In order to manage those things, to have a good understanding what are the books they have, what are the genre they have, right? So to maintain that their data, they use a database. So you can understand how database are helping. Why do we need database, right? Now, if we move further, if we talk about the between what two components does DBMS acts as an interface, right? Now we basically jump into the question you can expect from an interviewer if you go for SQL interview, right? So first I will give the example, the options, and from there, if you know, please again do let me know in the comment section. Just pause the video and let me know, right? So the question is between what two components does DBMS acts as an interface, right? So my options are database application and the database, data and the database, the user and the database application and SQL, all right? So let's see what is the answer for that. If you know it, then please do let me know in the comment again, because it's going to help you to have a good understanding how much you know about SQL. If you already know what is SQL, what is RDBMS, that relational database management system, if you know what is database management system and all these things, right? So let's see the question. Yes, this is the answer, database application and the database. Between what two components? So between database application and the database, DBMS acts as an interface, right? Okay, so the other options are not applicable. Now let's go forward and move forward and let's have a look at which one is a component of DBMS. That's a really good question. Which one is not a component of DBMS? User data, metadata, reports and indexes. What do you think? For my understanding, let's see. So basically reports are not the component of DBMS. We have user data, we have metadata, and obviously we have indexes in database management system. But for the reports, we do not have any component called reports in DBMS. Now, let's move further. Amazon and online commercial site. Yes, we know Amazon as a commercial site is the most popular site. So it's an example of AN. So it's a multi-user database application. It's a single user database application. It's an e-commerce database application, or is a data mining database application. What do you think? It should not be single user database application, because Amazon does have lots of user, right? It can be multi-user database application or e-commerce database application, right? So let's see what will be the answer. So answer is nothing but e-commerce database application, right? So Amazon and online commercial site is an example of an e-commerce database application. Right? Now, let's go forward and let's have a look at the fourth question we have. What is the full form of SQL? The most simplest question we have. It's a structured query language, it's a sequential query language, structured question language, or sequential question language. So guys, a quick confirmation, quick response from all of you. So it's a very simple question I have asked you, right? So before giving into the answer, please do let me know in the comment section what is the full form of SQL. So it's obviously structured query language for the full form of SQL. Let's move further. How can a company keep track of its business? Yes, it's very important to keeping a track whatever the business you are doing, right? So maybe it's database, table, instance, and relationship. How can a company keep a track of its business, right? So let's see the result. It's again database. Yes, a database can speak as well. As we were saying, suppose you are talking about Zomato or Swiggy, right? All of them trying to give you a really good idea or really good experience when you go to their application. But how they do that? It's nothing but they have already stored your data. As they have stored your data, they know your likings and they can suggest you according to your liking, right? So if we talk about Amazon and Flipkart, the recommendation they do, it's all about they have recorded your past data. So have a good understanding about your business and your customers. You have to have a good database, right? Okay, now we will talk about what is a relational database management system. So let's start with RDBMS. In short, relational database management system known as RDBMS, right? The relation between data files is relational in RDBMS. They connect the data and the different files by using common data numbers or maybe by using key concepts, right? Okay, what are the properties of RDBMS we have? So values are atomic in RDBMS. Each row is different. Columns are different. Each column can have common name. And integrity constants help to maintain the data consistency for multiple tables. Yes, this is what relational database management stands for. Let me give you a quick understanding or a layman term. So this type of database management system help you to make relationship between different tables. As we already know, in SQL, we actually store our data in tabular format, and to make a relationship between them, we use relational database management system. And in RDBMS, we have a concept called key. We will talk about that, how key are going to help you to make a relationship between different tables, right? So let's move further to the next question. And if you know about key, quickly let me know in the comment section. Yes, I do know about key, right? And what are the types of key we have as well. And again, if you like the video, do not forget to like it and do not forget to subscribe Great Learning. And also please share this video with your peers, with your connection, if you feel this video is going to help you out, right? So let's move further. Now we are going to talk about what is the difference between database management system and file system. Because in the past we used to have file system like the documents or some Excel or something like that. But what is the difference between them? Then we move forward to database management system. Let's look at that. So the file system is basically a collection of data. And any management with this file system has to write the procedures. In the case of DBMS is a collection of data, but user is not required to write the procedures to manage the database, right? So this is the main difference between DBMS and file system. File systems are not efficient for storing and retrieving of data. Yes, when you store the data, you have to make sure that your way of managing data should be efficient enough to do that. And DBMS is efficient to use Yes, there are large variation or varieties of techniques to store and retrieve the data, right? We do have few other examples of or difference of that. So, file system does not have cache recovery mechanism. And example, while we are entering some data into the file, if system crashes, then content of the file is lost. Can you think that you have entered data but you forget to save, right? Or your system crashes, is just the content is lost. It's really scary, right? Yes. And the DBMS has a crash recovery option. It protects user from the effects of system failures. Obviously, we will go for DBMS, and protecting a file using file system is very difficult, while DBMS has its own security process to save that data. So you can see whatever we need to protect the data to make sure that our data is online and they are not lost, we need to go for DBMS, right? So these are the difference between DBMS and the file system. Now we will talk about what is the difference between DBMS and RDBMS. So DBMS stores data as file, whereas in relational database management system, it stores data in a tabular format that we have just said. In DBMS, data is stored in two ways. One is hierarchical form or a navigational form. Whereas in RDBMS, the tables have a classifier known as primary key. If you know what is primary key, please do let me know again in the comment section and I will give the answer, right? And the data values are stored in the tabular format, right? So yes, the tabular, first of all, RDBMS makes your data or store your data in a tabular format, and then it has a classifier called primary key, and the data values are stored in the tabular format again. And for the normalization is not needed in DBMS, but in the case of RDBMS, you need to normalize your data to have a good understanding, to have a proper clean data as well. We will talk about that, what is normalization, what is primary key, but you have to keep tuned for the till end of this particular video, because these are the very important questions you can actually think or expect from an interviewer, right? So let's go and let's see the next question we have. Okay, we have few more difference about DBMS and RDBMS. Let's have a quick look at all of them as well. So DBMS does not have any security for data manipulation, whereas RDBMS has the integrity constraint for the purpose of ACID property. What is ACID property in RDBMS? Atomicity, consistency, isolation, and durability. It's a very important question. What is ACID property in RDBMS? Right? In DBMS, there are no relation between the tables. Whereas in RDBMS, there should be a relationship between the data values. DBMS is used for small organization and always deal with small data. It also supports single user. Whereas RDBMS used for large data set and also supports multiple user. So you can understand how flexible RDBMS is than DBMS, right? So let's go for the next question we have. Yes, the wait we were doing that. What is key in RDBMS? Yes, it's really awkward sometimes. Really key. Yes, these keys are basically helping you to make relationship between different table you have in your database. So key concepts has an important role in RDBMS. This techniques is used for identifying the unique rows from table and also help to establish relationship among the tables, right? So you can understand what is key in RDBMS. It's not the actual key, but yes, it's key to make a relationship between the tables, right? Now, just give me a quick response from all of you if you know what are the types of key we have in RDBMS. Please do let me know in the comment section, right? So let's go and let's see the 10th question we have. What are the types of keys we have in RDBMS? We have primary key, we have super key, candidate key, alternate key, composite key and foreign key, and we will see how these keys are going to work as well. So if an interviewer are going to ask you, hey, just let me know and just give me an idea what are the types of key you have in RDBMS, are you able to answer them right? Yes, with confidence you have to answer them. I know there are total 6 types of key we have in RDBMS, and as follows all the key name I have just said, right? Yes, this was pretty much about the RDBMS and the keys we have. Next, let's see what question we have for our interviewer, right? So these interview questions are really interesting to work with, and always give you a heads up that yes, you have to have a close look on this particular topic because they're really important, and any interviewer can ask you this question because at the end of the day you have to handle their database, right? So let's see what we have in the next. Now we are going to talk about what is primary key. I have given you an idea that we have key in RDBMS, but what is primary key? A primary key concept is basically a technique to classify unique data, which is unique tuples or rows in a table. Let me give you an example what I want to say. Suppose you have a data set or you have a table where you have student ID, name and age. Suppose you said my student ID will be primary key. So what are the things your primary key will do? The first and foremost things, you cannot repeat the same data. If you repeat the same data, it will not get stored, right? The first and foremost rule of primary key, okay? And primary key does not contain null value. If you want to put any null value, it will not take the null value. Primary keys are not always single attribute. And column, they can also be a set of more than one attribute or columns. So for each and every column, so we see it attribute in SQL. So in this case, you can use a particular single column for primary key, or you can combine them and you can use them, right? So this is what primary key stands for. Now, if we go further and have a look at what is super key. Now in this part, we are going to talk about each and every key, because you need to have a good understanding about all the types of key, not only the types of key only, right? Because they can ask you what is super key. You have just said the type of key you have, but what is super key? You can say that time a super key is a set of one or more columns or attributes to uniquely classify a row in a table. A super key is a superset of a candidate key. Example, in a student table, student ID and name are the super keys, right? So you can give student ID and then you can write student ID and name. These are the super keys. Note, in the student table, student ID and name, the name of two students can be the same, but the student ID can't be same. So this combination can also be a key, right? That's how super key works, right? So let's move further and let's have a look at the next question we have. We are going to ask you what is candidate key. A candidate key is a set of one or more columns or attributes to uniquely classify rows in a table. All the remaining attributes or the column except for the primary key are considered as a candidate key. Candidate keys are always as strong as the primary key, right? So this is how your candidate key works. Now, if we just talk about what is alternative key, right? What is alternate key? Out of all the candidates key, only one gets selected for primary key, and the rest keys are known as alternate or secondary key. Suppose you have student ID as a primary key, but passport number and license number will be your alternate key, right? So this is how we actually decide all the key in our database. Now let's see what is composite key. Composite key consists of greater than one attribute to uniquely classify rows or records or tuples in a table. So basically tuples is nothing but your rows. None of the columns can perform as a primary key. So the combination of key can be considered as composite key, right? So this is nothing but what your composite key. Now we will talk about what is foreign key. Foreign keys are the columns or a table which refer to the primary key of the another table. Yes, foreign key help you to make the relationship between two tables, right? So primary key of the another table, and basically they act as a cross reference between table. How they are going to use? Suppose you have student ID. Your student ID is a primary key. Now in the second table, if you have the column called student ID, then you can easily make a relationship between both of them, because in one table it's a primary key, in the second table it's actually present. So you can use them as a foreign key, the particular column called student ID. And this is how we are saying this is cross reference between the tables, right? Do you have any doubt in so far we have talked about the key? Please do let me know in the comment section. Now we will talk about what is the difference between super key and candidate key. All the candidate keys are super keys, right? But candidate keys are taken from super keys. Do not get confused. Let me tell you again. All the candidate keys are super keys. So all the candidate key, by closing your eyes, you can say they are nothing but super key. But in the case of candidate keys are taken from super keys, right? All super keys cannot be candidate key, but all the candidate keys should be super key, right? Yes, and combination of various super keys can make the criteria to choose the candidate keys. Combination of various candidate keys make the criteria to choose the primary keys, right? So this is how you can differ between super key and candidate key. Now, if I just go and just give more difference between them, in a table, number of super keys are always greater than the number of candidate keys. In a table, number of candidate keys are always less than the super key, as obvious. Super keys attributes can contain null values, and candidate keys attributes can also contain null values. But in the case of primary key, it cannot contain null values, right? Now let's see what we have next. Now we are going to talk about the most important part. What is normalization? Normalization is the process of organizing data to avoid duplication and redundancy. Helps to minimize duplicate data, to minimize or avoid data verification issues, and to simplify queries. In layman term, normalization is basically help you to process and organize your data in a better way, right? So let's see next what we have. What are the types of normalization you have? So basically, I will talk about all the type of normalization, but before that, a quick understanding from all of you. If you already know what is first normal form, please do let me know in the comment section, because I want the comment section to be more interactive. For that, I can look into it, and if you guys have any doubt, I can come and solve them out, right? And if you like the video, do not forget to like it, and do not forget to subscribe Great Learning. So normalization rules are divided into few categories. One, first normal form, second normal form, third normal form, Boyce and Codd normal form, which is BCNF, right? Now, if I just move further, what is 1NF? That is known as first normal form as well. Each set of columns should have a unique value. It helps to prevent using the multiple columns to fetch the same row. I will give you the example as well. But before that, just give attention to this particular part. Each should contain a primary key that identifies all the row as unique data. The primary key is usually a single column, but if needed, then more than one column can be combined to create a single primary key, right? Now we will just give you the example of that. So you have a data set or table or where you have the column called student, age and course, right? Where you have Raj, age and course name is CR001, CR005 and so on. Now I have to use the 1NF formula. What's happening? The Raj will be twice in your table. Why? Because the course ID you have, that will be single value for each and every row you have. right? After implementing the first normal form, maybe the data redundancy increases, but each row as a whole will be unique. That we need to take care of. Right? Now, if I go about what is second normal form. In the second normal form, relational must be in 1NF. So, you have to make sure your table is already in 1NF. Then you have to go for second normal form. So, first normal form is not able to reduce the data redundancy that we have seen. Now, second NF follows there will not be any partial dependency of any column or on primary key. So, there will not be any partial dependency. It follows the concepts of full functional dependency, right? So, this is how 2NF work. Now, if we talk about what is 3NF, a relationship of a table will be in 3NF if it's already in 2NF, does not contain any transitive partial dependency, then 3NF helps to reduce the data duplication. And it's also support in achieving data integrity if the table has no transitive dependency for non-prime attributes, then the relation should be in third normal form. Now we will talk about what is BCNF. Last but not the least, BCNF is basically advanced version of third normal form. It is more strict than third normal form. To use the law of BCNF, that boys in third normal form, we need to make sure that our data is already in 3NF. Yes, this is pretty much about the normalization. Now we will start with what is ear diagram. Let's start with what is ear diagram. Ear diagram in the full form is entity relationship model, right? And basically an entity relationship model, which is known as ear model, helps to describe the structure of a particular database with the help of the diagram. That is known as entity relationship diagram. Yes, your entity relationship diagram works with like what will be your structure or design for your database, right? This is a one particular type to understand your database in a more precise way. Now let's see what we have next. Why ER diagram is important. ER model helps to draw database design. It's an easy to display graphical tool for modeling data. Mostly using database design, it is GUI like graphical user interface representation of the logical structure of the database. It assists you to identify the entities that exist in a system and the relationship between those entities. Right? Now let's move further. What are the components of an ER diagram? We have three basic and most used components in ER diagram. Like we have entities, attributes, and relationships. Now we will talk about what is MySQL. I know you already have an idea about MySQL. Just again give you a heads up on what is MySQL. MySQL is a database management system, and also it is a relational database management system based on SQL. That is nothing but your structured query language, right? So MySQL is a software by Microsoft, right? Now let's see how to install MySQL. So in order to install MySQL, I would again ask you to check our video on how to install MySQL, and it will help you to give you a good understanding for installing MySQL. So MySQL you can directly install from MySQL official site for your operating system. Maybe it's Mac or Windows or something like Linux. You can actually install all of them from their official documentation and from their official site. Right? Now we will talk about how many types of commands do we have in MySQL. We have total 5 types of commands. One is DDL, DQL, DML, DCL, and TCL. Right? Now let's see one by one. What are DDL commands? DDL commands is basically the data definition language. It's a short form is DDL. It helps to define the database schema and deals with description of the database, and also has the power to deal with creating and modifying the data, modifying the structure of a database object. Yes, this is what DDL stands for. Now, if I want to give example of DDL, then your create command. This command is used to create the database. It also has some objects like index, function, view, store, procedure, and triggers. Now we have drop. So drop is manually used to delete objects from the database. We will do all the demo, no worry for that. Right? Then alter is used to alter the structure of the database, and truncate. Truncate command is used to remove all records from a table, which includes all memory allocated for the records removed. Right? So these were about the example of DDL. Now last but not the least, the comment. It used to add comments to the data directory. And we do have rename as well. This is used to rename an objects existing in a database, right? So this was pretty much about data definition language. Now we will talk about what are DML commands. So the name suggests it's a data manipulation language. This DML commands handle all the data manipulation part. It includes most important part of the SQL. Now, if I need to give the example of DML commands, then insert. It helps to insert data in your database management software. Then calls update, helps to update the existing data. Then delete, to delete records from a database table. And this is what we have talked about DML. If you have any doubt about DDL and DML, please do let me know. And we will do all type of commands, obviously, while we are going to do the project few questions answering. Right? For that, you have to again keep tuned for the full video we are going to work with. And total in this video, we are going to talk about 100 SQL interview questions. Right? So now we will talk about what are DQL commands. So DQL commands is data query language. DQL used to make queries on the data within schema object. Now the main focus of DQL command is to get some schema relation based on the query passed into it, right? And select, right? The select command we use to retrieve all the data from the table. So basically retrieving data in RDBMS, storing data is really easy with these commands. Now we will talk about DCL. That is nothing but your data control language. The most of the time you will hardly use these particular commands, but you have to know this about, right? That deals with the rights and permission of the database, then works for controlling part of the data. And grant, which provides the user access privilege to the database, and revoke helps to withdraw users access privilege given by using the grant command. Yes, now we have TCL command. What is TCL command? Transaction control language. That first is commits a transaction. If you want to commit a transaction, you have to use commit command. Then we have rollback. Rollback a transaction for any error that occurs, right? Save point, it uses a save point with a transaction. It's all about transaction while it comes to TCL. Then save transaction, it specifies the characteristics for the transaction, right? Yes, this was pretty much about all the types of the commands we have in SQL, right? Now we will talk about few functions in SQL. And let's see what are the things we have next. Now we are going to talk about what is an aggregate function. An aggregate function is a function where the values of multiple rows are grouped together as input on certain criteria to form a single value of most significant meaning. So we will talk about that. What is an aggregate function? What are the types of aggregate function we have? Now we will talk about mean function. What is mean function? Obviously, mean function is going to return you the smallest value in the table. Now we will talk about what is max function. Max function returns the largest value in the table. Now we will talk about what is count function. As the name suggests, again it's going to count. Function returns the total count of the rows which are matched with the condition if you give any condition, right? Then we will talk about the average function. The average function returns the average value of specific columns, right? So these are all the aggregate function we have. Now we will talk about sum function. Obviously, it will return the total sum of the columns. Now let's move further. We will talk about what is view. View stands for virtual table, which is based on the result set of an SQL statement. Normally in view, it contains rows and columns, which is like a real table. The fields in a view are fields from one and more real tables in the database. So basically view is nothing but the virtual table we have in order to understand your data, or maybe you just try to mix two tables. How can you do that? Everything you can do, which is nothing but it's not a real one, it's a virtual table, right? Now let's move further. We will talk about what is alias in SQL. So alias is nothing but it's if you want to give a short name for your column, we use alias. Alias concept is used in SQL to give temporary name to the table or the column of the table. So we use alias, like we say, suppose a student ID as STD, right? If you write that, so it's something you have given a temporary name for your column. Now we will talk about join, the most important part why we are talking about interview, right? A join, which is basically a clause used to combine rows from different tables based on a condition. You can join two different tables, but how to do that? You have to use join technique, right? This is what join stands for. If you know what are the types of join we have in SQL, please do let me know in the comment section again. So we have inner join, left join, right join, self join, and full join, right? Now let's see what is inner join. In the image itself, you can see inner join is nothing but going to take the same or the matching records from both the table. Now, how can you match them? Using foreign key, you can make the relationship, right? Inner join helps to select the matching records from both the table. This is what inner join stands for. Now, if we talk about what is left join helps to fetch all the records from the left table and the matching records from the right table, right? It's really easy to work with this join. Now we'll talk about right join. This right join helps to fetch all the records from the right table and the match records from the left table, right? This is how this right and left join works. Now comes full join. The full outer join helps to fetch all the records from both the table, whether there is a match or not, right? Yes, now this comes for self join. Self join helps to join with itself. If you want to join a table with itself, this is what self join stands for. What join is needed when you include rows that do not have matching value? So what will be your answer? Your answer is equijoin, left join, right join? No. Your answer will be full outer join. So full outer join is needed when you actually include rows that do not have matching values. It will join everything, right? Irrespective it's going to match or not. Now we will talk about what join is needed when you include rows that you have matching value. Before we didn't have the matching value, now you have the matching value. So these are the options you have. If you know the answer, again, quickly let me know in the comment section before I actually go for giving you the answer. So it's nothing but your all of the above. So if you have the rows which include the matching value, then you can do all the joins, like maybe starts from equijoin, left join, right join, and full outer join. Now let's go and move forward to subqueries in SQL. What is subquery in SQL? Subquery is a SQL command which is used to select queries that contain another query inside. Yes, if I have two query, is it a two query or it's a subquery? It's nothing but it's a subquery. Now we will talk about how many parts are there in subquery. We basically have two parts in subquery. One is inner query, one is outer query. Now, how this subquery executes? These are the things you have to keep in your mind. First, your inner query gets executed, get the result from the inner query, and output of inner query added to the outer query. And lastly, outer query will get executed to get the final result. This is how a subquery works. So subquery, it's first going to execute your inner query. Right? Now, we will talk about how many types of subqueries are there. Now, we are going to talk about how many types of subqueries are there. We have two types of subquery. One is nested subquery, one is correlated subquery. So, nested subquery first executes the inner select query and then with the returning values executes the outer query. When it comes to correlated subquery, a correlated subquery reads every row in a table and compares value in each row against related data. This is how our subquery works, and these are the types of subquery we have in SQL. Now we will talk about the difference between subquery and join. So first, let's have a look at the description. A subquery of inner query or nested query is also a query within SQL query and comes after the where clause. Whereas for join is a nothing but a query which combines records from different tables. Handling complex queries, subqueries break the complex query into isolated parts in order to make a complex query into a series of logical steps. Whereas in the case of join, fetching data using join concepts is faster. Right? While you are trying to work with the large amount of data set and you have to look into the time complexity and also the time management, you have to know that join is the best option for that you can opt for. Now we will talk about again a few differences about subquery and join. It's easy to understand and code maintenance is also at ease. Joins are not easy to read like subquery. Joins are not that easy like subquery again. As a result, subquery helps or allow to use the result of another query in the outer query. And for the case of join, as we have different types of join, so it is difficult to understand which one will give you the proper result. Now, when it comes to optimizer, subquery is easier to work with, but optimization is not good. While in the case of join is a good optimizer by server, right? This is what the difference we have in subquery and join. Now let's move further and let's have a look at the next question we have. Which of the following statement is true for subquery? A subquery can retrieve 0 or more row. A subquery can appear on either side of a comparison operator, or there is no limit on the number of subquery levels in the where clause of a select statement, or both A and B. Let's see. So it's both A and B. A subquery can retrieve 0 or more row, and the subquery can appear on either side of the comparison operator, right? So these are the true following statements regarding subquery. Now, if we talk about where can you not use a subquery? Field name in the select statement, the where clause only in the select statement, the where clause in select as well as DML statements, the row from clause, so the from clause in the select statement, where you cannot use subquery. The where clause only in the select statement, you cannot use subquery, right? So if you like the video, please guys do not forget to like it and do not forget to subscribe Great Learning. Now we are going to again do few questions from Broadband database management system. First we will see the database structure, and before that I will come to the presentation, and then we will start talking about the question we are going to solve, and then we will solve the question one by one. So let's see how can we actually start doing the project of Broadband database management system in MySQL. Now we will have a look into how this database is going to work and what is the structure of the database, right? So in this particular case, you can see this is the interface of MySQL, and I have created the table for this particular project of Broadband management system. Now we have created a database by using create command that we have talked about. I have written create database internet demo, right? So I have created a database called internet underscore demo underscore one. So in MySQL, while we are going to work with any project, you have to create your own database. So I have created my database and I have just executed that. Right, it's working. Now if I just need to write use internet underscore demo underscore one, right? So basically you are going to say what is the database I have created, please use that, right? So let me just again execute that. Yes, it's executing that particular database what we have created. Now if you want to see what are the database I have created, it's already there, or what are the other database I have in MySQL. For my case, I have lots of databases because I have worked with lot. So in that case, in order to see what are the database you have to use a command called show databases. So show databases will show you what are the databases you have. Can you see? You have HR2, human resource, oh my god, library, my demo database. I have lots of, right? So if you want to check, is there? Yeah. Can you see internet demo underscore one? Yes, it's there. What database you have created just now. Now, if you want to drop the database, you can drop database by writing drop database and then database name. Now, let's come to the table structure or the database structure we have for broadband management system. Let me make it little small. So we have a table called customer where we have the, we have columns for customer ID, first name, last name, birth date, join date, right? City, state, street, main phone number, secondary phone number, fax, multi-discount, package ID. This is what the table we have. We just need to insert the data to the table. How can we do that? By writing insert command, then the table name customers, then we have written values, and then can you see we have written one, Alvin, Smith, like all the data we needed, right? So this is how we can insert the data. Now, if I go further, we have inserted few more data where I will show you how to fetch them, right? Let me insert them as well. So we will have a good understanding. Okay, first let me create the table. Yeah, I have created the table. It's running 0 rows affected. It's there. Now I am going to insert all the data for customer table I have. I have few table, right? Few data. Yes, let me just insert them. Now, then we will fetch them to check all the data is getting properly inserted or not. By anyhow, you will get that green tick. If you can see, I know this is little small. I cannot make it big. So in this case, all the data you have inserted, it's successfully inserted to your data set. Not data set, to your table. Now, in order to fetch and see all the data are properly inserted or not, we use select command. Select star. Star is basically nothing but will return you everything you have in your table. Select star from customers, right? Let me just execute that. Can you see my customer table is showing me the result? I have this customer ID, first name Alvin, Smith, birth date, everything is actually inserted in my table called customer. Now I have one more table called package where I have packet ID, speed, start date, monthly payment and sector ID, right? So I'm just going to insert that as well. Okay, so I have created the table. Now same way we need to insert the packages as well. Let me do that. All the packages we have. Yes, let's see. Yeah, these are the packages we have, right? Let me show you. Okay, can you see? These are the type of, oh my god, there are lots of packages we have. Yes, after inserted all the packages, I just want to again see what are the packages I have. I have written select star from packages. Right? This is how our package is going to work for the table as a table. We have customer table, we have packages table. Now we are going to create a table called sector. right? In that particular table, we have column for sector ID, sector name, and that's all. Now let me create that table as well, and let me insert these particular data as well. I have only two sector, one is private, one is business. That's obvious. Now again, if you want to check all the data is already inserted in your sector table or not, you need to write select star from sectors. Let me just execute that. Right now we have one more table. Yes, we do have a few tables in this particular project. We have table called package grades, where we have grade ID, grade name, minimum price, and maximum price. Let me execute that. Yes, and okay, let me just, okay, let me go up. Okay, so basically what we have done, we have just inserted. Now we are going to insert the package grades in that particular package grades table. All right, now if I just write package select star from package grades, you will get all the package grades of what we have inserted. Now if you want to check all the table you have in this particular database, how can you do that? You have to write show tables. So you have customer table, package grade tables, packages table, and sector table, right? Yes, this is pretty much about the structure we have for this particular project. Now we will have a look at the question, and we will come back and we will complete and we will actually solve all the question in this particular project. So let's see what are the question we have. Now first we are going to say create a query to display unique cities from customer table. A quick heads up I will obviously give you before write that. If you can write it, please do write it in the comment section. I just want to see how you guys are understanding this particular topic. But for unique cities we use distinct keyword. I will show you anyhow how to do that. Then we have create a query to display unique states from the customer table. Again, to in order to show you the unique states, we need to use distinct keyword. Now we have create a query to display unique combination of cities and states from customer table. Right? How to do that? So again, unique combination of cities and state, we will use distinct. But how to do that? For that you have to keep tuned till the last of the video. Now then we will see create a query to display unique monthly discounts in customer table. We will do that. Then we have create a query to display unique packages. Right? So first I was giving you the questions, and then after this we will talk about the answer. Right? Then we need to do display all the data from packages table for packages whose speed is 5 MB. Here you have to use where clause. Right? Then you have to have display the name and the monthly discount for all the customer whose first name ends with E. So here we have to do the pattern matching, and we have to use like keyword. They all are really interesting to work with, guys. I am just saying that, but we are just discussing all the question, and then we will go back and we will do all the question answers, right? Then we have create a query to display unique monthly discount in customer table, right? And then we have display the first name, birth date, and age for all the customer older than 50 years. So let's do one thing. Let's just do the demo now, because we have talked at least 10-15 questions, and one by one we will solve it and then see how it goes, right? So let's start with the first question we have. Right, so let's go to MySQL. So our first question was create a query to display unique cities from customer table. How can you do that? So in order to do that, first we will just count the city, and then we will use the distinct function that I have said. So in order to count the city, you will get the total count of your city, and using distinct function, if you want to see is there any duplicate you have or not, you can easily understand that. So we have written select distinct, and then we have written, okay, now what I want to do, I want to make a count of that just to make sure. Okay, So I am going to use two functions at a time. One is distinct, one is count. Yes, it's 20. So in this case, you can say the distinct city you have, that is 20. The actual count of the city you have, that 20. So you have all the unique city, right? Now what we had, the next question we had, create a query to display unique states from customers table. Again, how to do that? You have to write distinct and then states. So this distinct function help you to get the unique result from your data. Now the next question we had, create a query to display unique combination of cities and states from customer. So what we have written select distinct, then we use concat function in order to concat city and state with a space. So what we have written distinct, right? City, then with a space state as combo from customers. To do that, what's happening, can you see? You first have city, then state, and all the data you get as a distinct data. So you can use multiple function to get your particular desired result. Now we have create a query to display the last name, concatenate with state and separate by space, right? Name this column customer and state, customer table. How to do that? Now what we need to do? First we need to concat last name, then we need to concat last name with state as customer and state, right? How to do that? We have written select concat, then last name, comma, there will be a space, then state. And as that is for alias that we have talked about, alias is a temporary name for a particular column, right? Let me do that. Yes, can you see customer and state? Smith, New York, Johns, California, Taylor, Illinois, right? Williams, Texas, right? So this is how we have done this. Now we have one more thing. Create a query to display the first name, last name, monthly discount, and city, right? Concatenate with street separated by space. Okay. Name the column headings FN, LM, DC, and full address repetitively, respectively. Right? How to do that? We have written select concat first name, last name, monthly discount, city, and street as. Then you have given this FN, LN, DC, and full address from customers. So you can see we are going to use concat function as well as the alias, right? And you can see this is something we have Alvin Smith, then we have monthly discount 28 New York and the full address, right? This is how we are going to do and use concatenation function, right? Next question what we have, let's see. Okay, we have written create a query to display unique monthly discount in customer table. How we are going to see the uniquely monthly discount? So there is a column for monthly discount. Again, you can use distinct keyword to see what is the monthly discount uniquely for all the customer. Right. Then you have question, create a query to display unique packages in customer table. How to do that? Again, you can use count distinct package ID from customers. So it will nothing but going to give you the distinct count of the package ID you have in your table. Right. Now let's see what we have. Now we are going to talk about select the first name, last name, package number for all the customer whose last name is Watson, right? How can you do that? In that case, you can write first name, last name, package ID from customers where you have just changed the lower name to last name to lower, right? Equals to Watson. Okay, so you get only one result where the last name is Watson, that's Marcel Watson and 23 package ID, right? So this is how you can start working on SQL. I hope you are liking it. If you like it, please do let me know. What are the things you like it? What are the new things you want to learn from us? And if you like the video, do not forget to like it. Do not forget to subscribe. Great learning. Now after this, maybe we will just take one question and come back to MySQL and we will solve that. Right? Okay, let's go back to presentation and let's see what else we have next. Okay, so we have done this here. Display the first name, birthday and age for all the customer older than 50 years. So let's go back to MySQL and let's see how we can do that. Okay, can you see? I just find it out and search it over here, right? You can search your query over here. So I have written display first name, birthday and age for all the customer who's older than 50, right? Now, how can you do that? Okay. So in that case, you can write select first name, birth date, round, date difference. That is, you are trying to find it out the date difference. How? You have the current date function and you have the birth date. That is divided by 360. Then you will get the age of the customers. Where current date, the birth date you have done, that is greater than 50 into 365. So this is how you can find it out the age and you can do this query. So this is something little, you can say, little complicated, but yes, you can actually calculate few fields over SQL if you don't have that column name as well. So this is what I want to show you. Right? Yes, this is how you can find it out the age and you can calculate the age and you can filter your data where age is greater than 50, right? So let's go back. Now let's see what else we have. So here we have said all customers whose package number is not 8, 19 or 30 and whose join date is before January 1st, 2007. You have to show all of them. Let's see how to do that. Right. This is the question we get. All customers whose package number is not 8, 19 or 30 and whose join date is before January 1st, 2007. What we have done? Maybe we can write 2013 because we do not have any record for 2007. So what we have done? We have written select star from customers where pack ID not in 8, 9, 30 and join date is greater than this. So this is how it's going to work. Oh God. Right. So this is how it's going to give you the required result you need. Okay. Let me do that. Okay. Let me just execute that. Yes. Can you see? This pack ID is not 8, 9, 30. If I go to... Okay. 8, 9 and 30 is not there. Can you see? You cannot see any 8, 9 and 30. And you can see these conditions are currently working. Right? So this is how we can do this particular, we can solve this particular problem. Now let's go back to presentation. Now we are going to talk about display the first name, birthday and age for all the customer who is older than 50. Okay, we have done this. In this part, we are going to talk about create a query to display uniquely month discount in customer table. Then we will talk about display all the data from the packages table for packages which speed is 5 Mbps. And then we will talk about create a query to display unique packages. Then a quick question from all of you, how to find the unique number or the records from your table. What is the keyword we use for that? We have talked about so many times. Do let me know in the comment section. If you have any doubt, do not forget to ask that as well. And do not forget to subscribe to Learning and please do hit like this video if you like it, and please do share with your friends if you feel it's going to help you to crack your interview for SQL. Now we will talk about create a query to display all the months in customer table. So this is all we have going to talk about this particular project. Then we will start with HR database management system. So let's see how can we solve this last few questions we have for this particular project. So here it's a question, display the package number, speed and sector number for all the packages with internet speed. Let me make it internet speed of 5 Mbps or 10 Mbps, right? So in this case, we have written select package ID, speed, sector ID from packages where speed equals to 5 Mbps or speed equals to 10 Mbps. You can see this is the data we get, right? If you have only 5 Mbps or 10 Mbps, you will only get the date because we have used the where clause, right? Now we talked about the distinct. Yes, for distinct one, you can use distinct keyword. And if I have one more question, that display the last name and monthly discount for all customers leaving Orlando. How to do that? Again, you have to use where clause where you have written the last name, monthly discount for customers where lower city equals to Orlando. But there is no customer we have from Orlando, right? Then we have display the last name package number for all the customers whose package number equals 9 or 18. Perform the exercise on using in operator, right? How to do that? You have to write select last name package ID from customer where package ID in 19 and 9 and 18, right? So this is how we can use the where condition, right? Okay, let's look at the last question and then move forward to the next project we have. Display the first name, main phone number, secondary phone number for all the customers, right? Without a secondary phone number. So this is null, right? So you have to check what are the customer you have whose secondary phone number is null. What you have written? You have written select first name, main phone number, secondary phone number from customers where secondary phone number is null. So it's going to give you what are the customer you have where the secondary phone number is null. So for Demarcus, Charlie's and Galen, you have the secondary phone number null, right? Right. So we have talked about broadband database management system. What is the structure of the database management system? Now we will go back to presentation and let's see what new project is waiting for us. Yes, so we are going to talk about HR database management system. And again, we will talk about maybe 5 questions first and then we will solve it and then again we come back and do the rest. So we will do total 20 questions from this particular database management system. And let's see what is the database structure. Then we will talk about this query one by one. Yes, so let's start by looking at the database structure. We have a table called countries, right? And where we have country ID, country name, region ID, primary key will be your country ID, and foreign key if you want to make. But the next one, you can do that. I don't need to have this engine and all these things. Now what I need to do, I have to create a database first. Create database. Then your database name will be HR Vault maybe. You can write. Then use HR Vault. Right? So first we have created a database, then we have used the same database. Okay, done. Now let me create the table called countries where you have country ID, country name, region ID as your column. Now you just need to insert it. How to do that? Let me just put it here. Okay, now I am going to add the value for the countries I have here. Right, I'm going to do this. So we already talked about inserting data. We are going to use insert command. Okay, now if you want to check it's already inserted or not, you can write select star from the table name is countries, right? Yes. Yes, can you see what you get? You get all the country you have inserted. Now I am going to create a table called departments where you have department ID, name, manager ID, location ID, and as a primary key you have department ID. Right? Let me do that. Yes, you have created the table. Now what you need to do? You have just need to insert the data to departments. There are a lot of data we have for this one. And this project we are using the primary key concepts and foreign key concepts as well. Right, now we have one more table called employee table, where you have employee ID, first name, last name, email, phone number, hire date, job ID, salary, commission package, manager ID, department ID, primary key, unique key, and rest. Right, so in this case we have again do the table. Now we need to insert the data to employees. That's the, oh my god, so many data we have under employee. Right, let me just execute that. It will execute in the table itself. Okay, now what we need to do, we are going to create a table called job history, where we will have employee ID, start date, end date, job ID, department ID. Let me execute that. Yes, now we are going to insert the job history data into the table called job history. Now we will have one more table called jobs, where you have job ID, job title, minimum salary, maximum salary, and primary key will be your job ID. Let me insert the jobs. Right. Now you have one more table called location, where you have location ID, street address, postal code, city, state, province, and country ID. Right? Everywhere they have mentioned the primary key and they have mentioned the foreign key as well. So now I am going to insert the data in the location. Okay. Now we have one more table called region table, where you have region ID and region name. Okay, and now we are going to insert the region to our region table. I know there are a lot of table we have in this particular database, but trust me, it's going to help you. Now we will see what are the tables we have in this particular database. We do have lots of table, right? We have country table, department, employee, job history, jobs, location, and regions. Now we will solve our query one by one. How to do that? Let's see. So the first question we have, write a query to get unique department ID from employee table. Right, again you have to use distinct function. Then you have write a query to get the total salary payable to employees. Right, then write a query to get maximum and minimum salary from employee table. Then write a query to get the number of employees working with the company. It's very easy to work with. Then we will have a query to calculate 171 into 214 plus 625. So first solve this first 5 query, then come back to the presentation and let's see, have a look at the next queries we have for this particular database. So first we have the question like write a query to display name, that is first name and last name using alias, that first name. And let's see how to do that. You have written select first name and last name as last name for employee, right? This as is nothing but your alias. Now you have write a query to get unique department from the employee table. In order to get the distinct department or unique, you have to use distinct keyword. Let me execute that. Yes. Now you have write a query to get employee details from the employee table. Order by first name, descending order. How can you do that? Order by is nothing but it's going to give you, like, sorted your data in a descending or ascending manner. So now I have written select star from employees, order by first name DSC. So you can see it started from Winston and William, Vance, Valley, right? Yes. Now we have a question called write a query to get the names, right? And salary PF for all the employee, and you have to calculate the PF, right? 15% of the salary. So what we have written select first name, last name. There's an extra question we are doing because this is important to work with. So first name, last name, and how can you do the calculation? That salary into 15, right? 0.15, that will be as PF from employee. And you see, it's actually calculate your PF. If your salary is 24,000, then PF is 3,600. If it's 17,000, then 2,550. Right? So this is how we have done this. Now, write a query to get total salary payable to employee. that I have said. Total salary payable means total summation of the salary for all the employee. So you have written select sum salary from employees, that is 691400. Now you have a question that write a query to get the maximum and minimum salary from employee. Select maximum salary 50 and minimum salary the way we have done the aggregate function, that maximum then salary, minimum then salary from employee. So you get max salary is 2400, minimum salary is 2100. Right? And then you have a question for write a query to get average salary and the number of employees in the employee. So average salary is average AVG function and then count star for all the question you have. So the average salary is 6461, count of employees 107. Right? I hope we have actually talked about all the question we have asked for in the PPT. Let's go back to the presentation. Now we will talk about write a query to get first name from employee table after removing white space from both the side. So let's see how can we do that. Let me write white space. I will get the query. Yes. Write a query to get the first name from employee table after removing white space from the both side. You have to write select and you have to use trim function, which will help you to trim the blank place. Right? The blank places you have. Yes. Can you see? It's helping you to just cut it out. Right? So this is how we can solve this particular query. Now let's go back to the presentation again. Now we will talk about write a query to get the length of the employee names from employee table. Okay, length of the employee name. Let's see how to do that. Do I have anything called length? Okay, I have written the length spelling wrong. That's why it's not given. Right, can you see? Write a query to get the length of the employee names. This is how you can do that. How can you do that? You have to write select, first name, last name, then length function. Then you have given the first name plus length of the last name. That will be the length of the names, right? You can do this type of sort of operation in SQL directly as well. So the length of the names is 9 for Ellen Abel, for Sundar Ande is 10. Alright, this is how you can solve this particular problem. So you have learned so many new functions while we are doing this particular project. So please keep that in mind and please make a note out of it and do let me know if you have any doubt regarding them. Now we are going to talk about write a query to check if the first name fields of the employee table contains number. Let's see how to do that. Right. Can you see write a query to check if the first name fields of the employee table contains number. How to do that? In order to do that, you have to write select star from employee where first name regex. Regex are nothing but to check that do you have any number or special characters. So that time we use regex. So if you have someone like that, so we do not have anyone in the database whose first name is started with the content with numbers, right? So let's go back to presentation. Now we are going to talk about write a query to select the first 10 records from a table. It's very simple to do that. Again, you have to use limit function, right? Can you see? Yes. What I need to do for this? Again, you have to use limit function. You just need to write select employee ID first name from employee limit 10. Limit is basically giving the limit how many data you want, right? Yes, these are again the new technique, a new way to do that. If you feel little confused, do let me know in the comment section. So we have done the first 10 records from a table, right? We have used limit function for that. Now we have a question, right? Write a query to display the last name of the employees whose name have exactly 6 characters. Okay, we have to find it out how to do that. Let's go to MySQL workbench and let's have a look at how can we do that. Right, let me write over here because I have done this for all of you guys. Okay, can you see? I have done this here. I have written write a query to display the last name of the employee whose name has exactly 6 characters. How can you do that? Yes, in order to do that, you have to write select last name from employee where last name, then like, then dots. What is that dot? If you can go little 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So total 6 A gap I have given to make sure the like is like they can be anything, but the character will be 6. Austin, Bishop, Cabrio, Davies, all are 6 characters. This is how you can manipulate your data, right? Yes, with the help of the function, you can manipulate your data like this, right? So let's see what's next we have. Now we are going to talk about write a query to display the last name of the employees having E as the third character. Let's do twice at a time. And the second one is write a query to display the job or designation available in the employee table, right? So first let's start with job and designation, then with the employee having E as the third character, right? So let's see jobs or designation, right? We have this over here and we want to see E. I will do that later. Now, how can we do that? For that, you have to use distinct function in your job ID. You can write select distinct job ID and from employees. Can you see what are the job you have over here? All are distinct. There is no repetitive value you get. Now, if you just write this, okay, and can you see write a query to display the last name of the employee having E as the third character. How to do that? Again, we have to use like function. So like function or keyword, you can say this like select last name from employee where last name like, then you have written this, that you have given how many? You have given 1. Okay, let me show you. 1, 2 and third character will be E after that percentage. I mean anything can be there, right? So this is how we have done this. Now let me just execute that. Do we have anything like that? Yes, we have Abel, we have Bayer, Chain, Everett, Frenzy, Freeney, right? So these are the name where we have E in the third character, right? Now let's go back to presentation and let's see what else we have. Now we are going to talk about write a query to select all the records from employee where last name is Blake, Scott, King and Ford. Okay, that's easy. We can use where clause, write last name equals to this, right? And 4, we have 94 question number. Write a query to list the number of the jobs available in the employee table. Okay, before that, let's do that. The last name in Blake, Scott, King and Ford. Let me write Blake. So here we are going to write Scott and okay, we are going to write Scott. Do I have anything? Okay, why you are doing this particular thing, right? The like, let me try. Okay, last name is Scott. Do I have? No, it's not giving me the option. Okay, I'm not able to find it out. Okay, there is a bug. Okay, there is a bug for that. Fine. I should have over here as well. Yes, can you see? I got the question. Okay, I was trying so many times. Yes, I got it. So I'm just saying that write a query to select all records from employee where last name in Blake, Scott, King and Ford. So I have written select star from employees where last name in Jones, Blake, Scott, King and Ford. Write in is basically if you have something under this, what option I have given. Right, let me just execute that. So yes, you can see the last name Jones, King and King I get. Right, yes, this is how it's going to work. Now let's go back to the presentation and let's see what else we have. But yeah, okay, I forgot one particular question, like write a query to list the number of jobs available in the employees. So again, you have to use count and distinct together to get the distinct job you have in your job ID. That's 19 job ID we have, that is distinct, right? That is unique, not repetitive. Now let's see what else we have. Write a query to get the total salaries payable to the employees. Let's see how to do that. Okay, the next question itself, So write a query to get the total salaries payable to employees. So the total salary payable, that is, you have to make the sum of it. You need to write select sum salary from employees. Let me show you 691400. Right? Now again, let's go back to the question. Okay, write a query to the minimum salary from employee table. Then write a query to get the names, first name, last name, salary, PF of all the employee. That's PF is 50% calculated. So we have already talked about how to calculate the PF. That time as extra we have done, but yes, we have included that as well over here, right? We have already solved this. Just the way we calculate percentage, we need to do the same thing. You can do that type of operation in MySQL. Now you have write a query to get employee ID, name, first name, last name, salary in ascending order of the salary. Okay, salary in ascending order of the salary. Let's see how to do that. How can I do that? The ascending order part. You have to write select star from employees, right? Order by salary ASC. If you do not write ASC, automatically it will take you ASC, that is ascending order, right? Can you see? Yes. This is how your salary looks like, the ascending order. It's from 2100 to 24,000. Right? So this is how we can solve these queries. Okay, we came back to presentation and we are going to done with this particular project. That's last 2 questions left. Write a query to get the number of employees working with the company and write a query to get the first 3 characters of first name from employee table. Let's see how to do that. So in order to do that, what do we need to do? How many employees do we have? What I need to do, I just need to write select count star, right, from employees. Okay, from employees, from employees. So it will give you how many employees you have under this particular company. So this is 107. The last question we have, that is, let me check once more. Okay, the last question to get the first 3 characters of first name from employee table. Let's see how to do that. Start. The question we get that first 3 characters of first name of employee table. What you need to do, just write select. You have to use substring function first name from how many you want? 1 to 3 character from employee. So you will get the first 3 characters of your employees, that EII, SUN, son, MOS, DAV, her. This is how you can do this, right? With this, we have actually completed 100 questions in SQL. We hope you like it. Please do let us know in the comment section what you feel about it. And if you feel like it's going to help you out and to sure like it's helping you to clear your understanding on SQL, please do share this with your friends as well. Thank you so much. We'll see you in the next video. I want to introduce you to Great Learning Academy, a free initiative by Great Learning, where you can access over 200 plus courses with 1000 hours of free content on trending high demand domains such as data science, machine learning, artificial intelligence, programming, cloud computing, digital marketing, DevOps, management, and many more. That is also for absolutely free. Award-winning academicians and leading industry experts design these courses. You can also get a free certificate of completion when you enroll and complete these free courses. You also get access to the presentation, code, notebook, dataset, and pins. You have courses in English and Hindi to give you the best learning experience in the language you are comfortable with. Check out the description of this video to access the relevant courses on Great Learning Academy. So what are you waiting for? Register now and start your learning journey today. If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, I want to request you to hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so that you don't miss out our any new update or video release from Great Learning. If you enjoy this video, show us some love and like this video. Knowledge increases by sharing, so make sure you share this video with your friends and colleagues. Make sure to comment on the video any queries or suggestion and I will respond to your comments.